Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler and welcome to Caden's Corner. NBA free agency is wrapped up and in my opinion, the Philadelphia 76ers have had the best offseason of any team. After a disappointing exit in the first round, the Sixers looked to bring in a big-time guy to put them back in contention. They brought in Paul George from the Clippers and signed him to a supermax contract. And there's been some questions around this move. A guy that's been notoriously injured over the last few years, especially in the postseason. You pair him up with Joel Embiid, who's also been very injured in the postseason. How is this team going to look when the early summer comes around and you're expecting these guys to give you big time minutes in the postseason? I personally love this move from the Sixers despite all the scrutiny. The 76ers might have the most spread out and well-balanced attack in the NBA. You have a guy in Tyrese Maxey who just signed a massive contract extension, who's one of the most explosive guards in the NBA. He can give you 30 points on any given night and he can also be an elite playmaker. And then you have the unstoppable big man down low in Joel Embiid, the former MVP winner, a guy that is absolutely unguardable for his size. And then you bring in Paul George, one of the best wing scorers in the league, to fit with an already great duo in Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. You now have elite scoring on all three levels, and Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid are a major threat to the NBA. Now, it's easy to say that the 76ers had a great free agency because they signed Paul George, who was one of the biggest guys available, but they re-signed Kelly Oubre Jr., a guy that gave them great production last season. They ended up bringing him back, and I thought he played great in his role with the team last year. And then another good signing from this team was bringing in Caleb Martin from the Miami Heat on a 4-year, $32 million deal. He was pretty up and down last year, but you saw 2 years ago in the playoffs when he had that elite series against the Celtics. He's a guy with very high upside and he can play his role really well. So with the way it stands, you're looking at a 76ers team with the starting point guard of Tyrese Maxey. You have Kelly Oubre at the 2, you have Paul George at the 3, Caleb Martin at the 4, and Joel Embiid at the 5. Now you look at some of the moves that Philadelphia made to bulk up their bench. They re-signed Kyle Lowry, who they brought in last year, who's a solid veteran guy. They also signed Eric Gordon, another player who had an up and down season last year, but when he's shooting the ball at a high level, he's one of the best shooters in the entire league. And then another great signing was bringing in Andre Drummond to a 2-year deal. He's not going to get that many minutes in the postseason, but can he give Joel Embiid and this 76ers squad a good 2 to 3 minute stretch in each half? I absolutely think Drummond can. So when you look at this roster, the way it'll be constructed for the postseason, they have guys 1 through 8 that can play their role very well and can be very effective in a playoff series. In my opinion, this is the scariest the Philadelphia 76ers have ever looked in the Joel Embiid era. When you look at the outlook of the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, there's obviously a big difference. The Western Conference has teams 1 through 11 and even 1 through 12 that could make a significant playoff push. But when you look at the Eastern Conference, it's very top heavy with the Boston Celtics. Now you have the 76ers that made some big time moves that are going to put their name in contention for this Eastern Conference title. And then you have the New York Knicks that made some big time moves this offseason. They shipped a bunch of first round picks to go get Mikal Bridges from the Nets, and they're looking like a serious threat in the Eastern Conference after losing in the second round. Now, as I said, this Philadelphia squad has the best chance of contending for a title in the Joel Embiid era. Nick Nurse is a phenomenal coach, and I think he's going to help Joel Embiid's game significantly more than Doc Rivers ever did. Getting rid of James Harden last offseason and allowing Tyrese Maxey to become that true point guard and playmaker for this team has led to tremendous growth in this offense. As it stands right now, everybody is trying to chase the Boston Celtics, and this move is going to make them a serious contender come summertime. At the end of the day, everybody knows this Philadelphia 76ers squad has the talent to get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in the Joel Embiid era. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the health of Paul George and Joel Embiid in order for this team to have success. But as we sit in the middle of the offseason, the 76ers are the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. I'm Caden Kubler, and that's my take.